The law allows only partial access to that information. Should our provincial adoption laws be reformed? That's the topic for today, and we welcome your calls. The number is 902-481-4441. And with me on the show is Ron Murdock, and he wants me to say an accomplished tenor, not necessarily internationally renowned. He is also, though, a survivor of the maternity home in Chester, Nova Scotia, and an adoptee. Now, Ron, I know that you're passionate about this subject. Can you tell me a little bit about your own story, having been adopted from that maternity home?
Please. Well, I was there for the first 7 months of my life, and my mother, and when I say from now on in the program my mother, I mean Kay Murdock, who adopted me with my father, came there with a friend of hers who was adopting a baby from there. And before she left the house, my father said to her, "Don't do anything foolish." Oh. And she was walking around with babies, and apparently she came to my cot, and I reached up, and she picked me up and took me home.
Marvelous. Marvelous.
And that was the beginnings of a very happy life.
You did have a very wonderful adoptive family. Tell me a little bit about them.
Well, it's a huge clan of Murdocks there in Pictou County, and my father was the eldest of 11 surviving. I think there were 13 in the family originally. And they all live within 25 miles, and I have a host of aunts and uncles and a host of cousins. There was never a question of my not being accepted by them all. And the love and the mothering from all of them was incredible. And it was a tremendous place to grow up. I mean, out in the country there, and I skied on the little hill down by the house and skated on the river in front of the house and swam in the Merrigamish Harbour at the back in the summer. Oh, wonderful memories.
But obviously, from what you're telling me, despite this, despite all the love and the support, there were some unanswered questions for you. Is that correct?
Well, yes, because I don't look like anybody there.
Of course. I didn't think of that. That's right.
They're all blonde and rather the guys are sort of four-square hockey players. And I was this thin reed that liked music. And I mean, I was just very different. I felt that they didn't make me feel different, but I just felt, well, who am I? Right. From the age of 10, really, that's when I discovered I was adopted. My mother and father handled it extremely well, very straightforward with me, very lovingly.
Did you ask?
No. The friend who was adopted the same day I did knew she was adopted before I did. And she said to me one day, you know, we're adopted.
Oh, my.
And I said, no, we're not. Adoption means when somebody else has you, and then somebody else looks after you. So I already was prepared by my mother as to, who was an excellent school teacher, what adoption was. So I went home and I said, Marion says we're adopted. I'm not adopted, am I? She said, yes, you are, dear.
Just like that.
Just as straightforward as that. And she always said to me, I don't know many details, but I will never lie to you.
Honesty.
Honesty.
And that gives you security.
And she still has that honesty. She's 92 and just firing on all cylinders. I think she's planning to release a new car next week.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yes.
We actually have a caller on the line already. Her name is Lisa. She's calling from Halifax. Lisa, are you there?
Yes.
Would you like to go ahead and speak to Ron?
Yes.
What questions do you have?
When my son and my daughter they've been adopted. My cousins they have adopted both of my children. The question also, how long before they are allowed to see their natural parent?
I think you can request it after the age of maturity, which is what, 18 here?
18, I would think, yes.
And as long as they request it and you request it, then the adoption registry will put you together.
Like, I know where they're at, and I know who's got them. Like, my cousins has them, and
yes,
we have good contact with each other. My daughter's been with them since she was a year old, and my son's been with them since he was a year old. So, and he's 2.5 now, and she'll be 9 next month.
Yeah, well, you and they, I think, will need a lot of time to come to terms with it all, and they need a chance to grow up before they're faced with this, I would say. I can't say categorically, but I would give them time.
Yeah, also, my daughter has no resentment towards me because she turned to my cousin and said, Mommy, I'm glad that my real mommy gave me to somebody that can look after me.
Oh, she knows she's adopted already?
I didn't realize that.
Ah, well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, which I'm really happy that she said that, because that way it gives me a self knowing that she has no resentment towards me.
Well, I think you're very lucky that you're in such close contact with them, and it's a matter of just being patient and wait, and it sounds to me like it should all come right.
Hopefully.
That sounds like a very nice story, actually.
I think so.
So
Yeah.
not a story necessarily of pain, but
No.
it sounds like it's going to have a good resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to see them one day soon.
Yes.
And thank you for talking about this topic, because I know a lot of people out there, like my best friend, she's been adopted, and she's been looking for her birth parents for quite some time right now.
It's a hard process.
It is a very difficult
Yeah.
process.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Lisa, for calling us.
Okay, thank you.
Good to hear from you.
Bye.
Sounds like an open adoption
like an
arrangement,
open
which is a little bit different from a lot of the situations that many adoptees are in.